Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely mind-bending. We're taking an exclusive virtual tour of a true ancient celestial wonder. We're going to step right into the pages of ancient lore to explore a structure of literal cosmic proportions. It's called Pushkaramalini, this magnificent celestial assembly house. Seriously, buckle up, because we are about to step into a space that completely defies human limitation.
So, I want you to imagine, just for a second, the most utopian, luxurious space possible. And no, I'm not talking about some modern billionaire's mega mansion or, a fancy penthouse in the sky. Scratch that. I want you to picture a space where the very elements of the universe gather. A space radiating with the sheer brilliance of the sun itself. Like, what would that even look like? Who in the world would be on the guest list? And maybe most importantly, what does it actually take to get the keys to a place like this?
Okay, let's dive into this. The source text gives us the foundational secret of this unimaginable palace right out of the gate. It says, "He hath obtained it as the fruit of his own acts." So this awe-inspiring space, it wasn't just inherited or magically conjured out of thin air. No way. It was entirely earned. It was built by Sakra, who you might also know as Indra, the Lord of the Celestials, through his own pure merit. It's this grand fantasy that's deeply, deeply rooted in the concept of personal action and cosmic reward.
And here is where it gets crazy. One of its absolutely incredible features is that Pushkaramalini isn't some static building glued to one spot in the heavens. Nope. Our source describes it as a celestial assembly house, capable of going everywhere at will. Think of it as the ancient equivalent of a magnificent, flying mobile headquarters. It travels literally wherever its host desires. You don't commute to this palace. This palace commutes to you.
All right, now let's talk about the sheer, mind-blowing cosmic scale of this architecture. To help us understand the footprint, the text uses an ancient unit of measurement called a yojana. Now, a single yojana represents several miles of distance, and the length of this single celestial assembly house, 150 yojanas. That's a room that stretches way further than the eye could possibly see. I mean, it's vast enough to literally hold worlds within it.
Building on that massive scale, we've got to look at the breadth. It spans a whopping 100 yojanas across. So we're not just talking about a long hallway here. It is a sprawling, colossal arena. To put that into perspective, the square footage here is practically geographical in size. It establishes this massive footprint that allows the entire universe to just comfortably gather under one roof.
And capping off these dimensions, we have the ceiling. It towers 5 yojanas high. Just imagine sweeping, monumental ceiling soaring miles, literally miles above your head. It's a space designed to make you feel the absolute majesty of the cosmos, providing this incredible sense of endless openness, while you're still enclosed in this radiant traveling palace.
Now, if I were giving you a high-end real estate tour, these amenities would be the ultimate selling point. They are way beyond anything a mortal spa could ever offer. Get this, simply stepping into this room alters your state of being. It dispels the weakness of age, completely erasing grief, fatigue, and fear. It is auspicious, bestowing good fortune upon everyone inside, and the whole place is beautifully adorned with living celestial trees. It's basically a sanctuary that cures the mortal condition the exact moment you walk through its doors.
All right, moving on to Section 2. Meet the celestial host, Sakra and Sachi.
So, as we transition deeper into this magnificent room, we finally arrive at the master of the house, Sakra. But here is where the text gets incredibly fascinating. I mean, how do you even describe the Lord of the Celestials? Well, the source actually says Sakra assumes a form incapable of description for its vagueness. He is so dazzling, so brilliantly radiant, that his physical presence just defies concrete description. And he doesn't just sit alone. He literally sits with personified beauty, fame, and glory right by his side in this delightful space.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the text balances that dazzling vagueness with some incredibly vivid, specific sensory details regarding his wardrobe. Despite his indescribable form, we can clearly see the royal attire: a gleaming crown on his head, bright bracelets resting on his upper arms, robes of pure white, and the whole shebang is decked with floral wreaths of many vibrant hues. It really paints a picture of absolute purity combined with vibrant, blooming life.
Section 3. The Ultimate VIP Guest List. A living, breathing universe.
So, as we scan this towering room, we see a guest list that completely defies mortal comprehension. I mean, this categorization perfectly illustrates that this isn't just a party, it's a summit of existence itself. Look at the left column. You have pure-souled celestial sages and ascetics known as Rishis with their sins completely washed off. Guys like Valmiki, Gautama, and Brigu. Then in the middle, the actual forces of nature are in attendance. We're talking lightning, rain-charged clouds, the winds, the stars, and the planets. And on the right, abstract ideas are actually mingling as physical guests. Faith, intelligence, wealth, religion, and the goddess of learning are all right there in the room.
And as we observe these celestial guests, we really have to marvel at the intense, rigid vows of the ascetics in attendance. The text notes specifically that among the Rishis who wait upon Indra, there are some who live solely upon air, and others who live solely upon fire. I know, it's wild. These are beings possessed of immense energy, completely freed from the fever of anxiety. They're existing on planes of discipline we can hardly even imagine, yet they're all gathered here to worship the wielder of the thunderbolt.
Now, what is a celestial gathering without some vibrant entertainment, right? Gratifying the Lord of the Celestials are the divine musicians and dancers, the Apsaras and Gandharvas. They fill this immense hall with all various kinds of dances, soaring instrumental and vocal music, the practice of auspicious rites, and an exhibition of many feats of skill. It's just a continuous, dynamic background of divine art and celebration, perfectly suited for a room entirely devoid of grief and fatigue.
And because this assembly house is the epicenter of the cosmos, it's always moving, always alive. The commute here is just as spectacular as the destination. The text describes Brahmanas and celestial rishis frequently coming to and leaving the assembly. And how do they travel? They ride on various kinds of beautiful, radiant celestial cars, looking as incredibly bright within them as the moon god Soma himself. So just picture that, a dynamic, glowing celestial highway constantly flowing in and out of this magnificent flying palace.
So, the crucial point is, when we step back and look at this entire universe in a room, the massive scale, those curing amenities, the radiant chariots, we have to bring it all the way back to the very first secret we learned. This glorious celestial space was built entirely by personal merit. It is purely the fruit of his own acts. The sheer grandeur of the space is a direct reflection of the work put in to actually earn it.
Which leaves us with a pretty fascinating final thought. We might not be building a flying palace 150 yojanas long that cures all fatigue, but the ancient wisdom still totally holds true. The spaces we inhabit and the lives we experience are very often the fruit of our own acts. So what kind of reality are your daily actions building right now? Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through the source material in this explainer, and definitely keep exploring the incredible architecture of ancient wisdom.